This is Audible.
Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. For Beth Sanderson, who's been reading fantasy for longer than I've been alive, and fully deserves to have a grandson as loony as she is. Mistborn. Sometimes I worry that I'm not the hero everyone thinks I am. The philosophers assure me that this is the time, that the signs have been met. But I still wonder if they have the wrong man. So many people depend on me. They say I will hold the future of the entire world on my arms. What would they think if they knew that their champion, the hero of ages, their savior, doubted himself? Perhaps they wouldn't be shocked at all. In a way, this is what worries me most. Maybe in their hearts they wonder, just as I do. When they see me, do they see a liar? Prologue. 1. Ash fell from the sky. Lord Trusting frowned, glancing up at the ruddy midday sky as his servants scuttled forward, opening a parasol over Trusting and his distinguished guest. Ash falls weren't that uncommon in the Final Empire, but Trusting had hoped to avoid getting soot stains on his fine new suit coat and red vest, which had just arrived via canal boat from Luthadel itself. Fortunately, there wasn't much wind. The parasol would likely be effective. Trusting stood with his guest on a small hilltop patio that overlooked the fields. Hundreds of people in brown smocks worked in the falling ash, caring for the crops. There was a sluggishness to their efforts, but of course that was the way of the skaa. The peasants were an indolent, unproductive lot. They didn't complain, of course. They knew better than that. Instead, they simply worked with bowed heads, moving about their work with quiet apathy. The passing whip of a taskmaster would force them into dedicated motion for a few moments, but as soon as the taskmaster passed, they would return to their languor. Trusting turned to the man standing beside him on the hill. "One would think," Trusting noted, "that 1,000 years of working in fields would have bred them to be a little more effective at it." The obligator turned, raising an eyebrow, the motion done as if to highlight his most distinctive feature, the intricate tattoos that laced the skin around his eyes. The tattoos were enormous, reaching all the way across his brow and up the sides of his nose. This was a full prelin, a very important obligator indeed. Trusting had his own personal obligators back at the manor, but they were only minor functionaries with barely a few marks around their eyes. This man had arrived from Luthadel with the same canal boat that had brought Trusting's new suit. "You should see city skaa, Trusting," the obligator said, turning back to watch the skaa workers. "These are actually quite diligent, compared to those inside Luthadel. You have more direct control over your skaa here. How many would you say you lose a month?" "Oh, 6 or so," Trusting said. "Some to beatings, some to exhaustion." "Runaways?" "Never," Trusting said. "When I first inherited this land from my father, I had a few runaways, but I executed their families. The rest quickly lost heart. I've never understood men who have trouble with their skaa. I find the creatures easy to control if you show a properly firm hand." The obligator nodded, standing quietly in his gray robes. He seemed pleased, which was a good thing. The skaa weren't actually Trusting's property. Like all skaa, they belonged to the Lord Ruler. Trusting only leased the workers from his god, much in the same way he paid for the services of his obligators. The obligator looked down, checking his pocket watch, then glanced up at the sun. Despite the ashfall, the sun was bright this day, shining a brilliant crimson red behind the smoky blackness of the upper sky. Trusting removed a handkerchief and wiped his brow, thankful for the parasol's shade against the midday heat. "Very well, Trusting," the obligator said. "I will carry your proposal to Lord Venture as requested. He will have a favorable report from me on